Thank you. Can you all hear me? Okay, I'm going to talk about automated design of nanosystems and how we are going to provide miniaturization as a service. So our mission is to accelerate the transition going from the world of macro-scale components, big circuit, CPUs, RAM, and make them at the nanoscale. So the problem is that there are all of the benefits of doing things at nanoscale, but the design and manufacturing principles are totally different. You can't just shrink a macro scale design. It won't work because the physics are totally different. And even if you could just shrink it and have it magically work, we couldn't build those things. And so we need a way of going from a macro scale design to an actual procedure, a sequence of elementary operations that we know how to do that lead to a functionally equivalent nanoscale object. So the approach that we're going to take is to treat this as a machine learning task and use AI to translate given macro scale design, which includes a full functional input-output specification of the behavior that we want, along with constraints on the final solution, such as the number of steps and the power consumption, the amount of compute time, et cetera, to create an object that's functionally equivalent at the nanoscale. So on the AI side, algorithmically, we're going to need to take a hybrid approach. And so the basic technique for establishing a correspondence between macro and micro scale, we're going to need to start out with some kind of training data, so macro scale designs, and then sequences of steps that we can take at the nanoscale, which will allow us to build a functionally equivalent. And once we have a few of these, we can use that to learn a sequence-to-sequence model, or a variant thereof, which is the sort of standard framework for translation problems. And the utility of having a model like this is even if the results aren't very good, we can run inference on it very quickly. And that will serve as a sort of best guess, a starting point where we can apply more computationally expensive methods, such as program induction, to take large steps and transform designs in creative ways to exploit the unique physics of the nanoscale to create machines that are functionally equivalent, but perform that function in a radically different way. And finally, we're going to include classical planning based on backward and forward chaining. If there's a design from program induction that's almost correct, you can use planning to exhaustively search small subspaces in order to find the exact right sequence of steps that you need in order to get functional equivalent. And what's interesting about this is that if we can get it to work, it can train itself offline. It can bootstrap. Because there are many more examples of macro scale objects than micro scale. And so if we have a large library of micro scale objects, we can be churning away and searching for translations into the micro scale and use this to make the model better and better. On the nano side, we have some suggestive proofs of concept. This is a tool, CAD Nano. It's a screenshot. So this is what the output of the process might look like. It might be a way for people to inspect the models that are generated. And now I'm going to turn it over to my esteemed colleague, who will talk about some examples of actual molecular manufacturing.
Yeah, okay, so these are some examples of a class of nanostructures called DNA origami. And from the top left, you can see that we have both flat examples, two-dimensional examples, and three-dimensional examples of DNA origami. And also today, we can also build larger complexes of DNA origami. And the way that these structures are made is that a large DNA strand, a long DNA strand, is held into this shape by several hundred smaller DNA strands that all come together in salt solution and self-assemble. You can see that when we specify the nanoscale designs, such as this example, the idealized example of the nanoscale design is very different than the actual shape that you get in solution. Because at this scale, the structures are actually dominated by the very strong interactions of the molecular scale forces. But you can get quite sophisticated types of geometric structures, but you can also see that assembly is error-prone. So for example, here, you're supposed to have a two-dimensional grid that covers from horizon to horizon, but instead, there are many, many different types of errors that can happen. So the AI system will have to take into all of these things into account and incorporate, I think, physics-based models, taking into account ideas of redundancy and error, and in translating them to the nanoscale. Thank you.
Wow, great.